Hello, human beings. I have a desire in this moment to speak a bit about the relationship between how healing and integrating our inner masculine polarity within us as women influences not only our relationship with men, but actually influences men's abilities to relate with us and experience their own healing and their own integration of masculine, feminine energies. So basically, what we're experiencing in the collective right now is a disharmony and disconnection of the inner masculine and feminine polarities that exist within us. If we look at it from alchemical standpoints, what we're desiring to do is exalt our inner masculine and feminine from its lead like structure and exalt it into its gold like structure. So turning it from its less evolved form to its highest evolved form. And what is essential here, because I've been seeing people asking, what actually is the relationship between healing my inner masculine polarity as a woman and attracting a man into my life? Well, basically what this does is the inner masculine is the protector of our inner feminine. If our inner feminine is the expression of our vulnerability, the emergence of our authenticity, of our truth, of our creativity, of our desire, of our eros, our inner masculine lives in devotional service to protecting the feminine's expression, which supports us as women in communicating important and sometimes uncomfortable truths, because when our inner masculine is healthy, we aren't reliant upon the person's reaction or response to our truth to determine whether or not we have safety within our own bodies. When we have a healthy, interconnected relationship with our inner masculine and feminine polarity, we have mastered the ability to create safety within our own bodies, which allows us to release this idea that we as women are fragile or breakable. A lot of what having an unhealthy relationship with our inner masculine looks like is playing out the modern archetype of the woman wanting to be saved by the man, the damsel in distress wanting to be saved by the prince. And often where this comes from is that we have a desire for the man to be in a fixed role of his masculine energy to create a safe space for us. We are having this desire and often this suppressed or deeper expectation for the man to create an experience of safety, which we can actually only create within our own bodies. That doesn't mean that we, invite in connection with men where they're deliberately not trying to value our safety, or the man isn't doing their own inner work of healing their inner masculine or feminine polarities. However, if we come in and do not have an integrated relationship with our masculine polarity, that also means that our inner feminine polarity is likely in distrust of the masculine and of men. She's likely both resistant to structures and is also working on overdrive because she's performing tasks that it's actually the masculine's responsibility to perform. So when we heal our inner masculine polarity, and I'll tell you, everything that I share is from a place of going through my own somatic internal experience of realizing these distortions that exist within me. One of these distortions being the distortion of a desire for a woman to be saved by a man because of a deep belief that we can't create safety and security for ourselves, which can really negatively impact our relationships with men, because it's one thing if we're super transparent about that desire, where we come into a relationship with a man, it's like, you know what? I have a really deep desire to be taken care of financially by you. You could even say, I have a really deep desire to be saved by you. Even though that might not be the healthiest desire, at least we're being transparent about those desires at the start. But often what will happen is, us as women who have learned a need to create, independence for ourselves. In post-feminist movement, there can be this strong feeling of, I need to handle it by myself. I can handle it by myself. But there's still this underlying longing to be cared for by a man, or the shadow aspect of that, to be saved by a man. What can often happen is, if we're operating from the place of not having a healthy inner masculine, which often leads us to feelings of feeling unsafe and insecure in the stability of our life, and the feeling that I need a man in my life in order to create safety for me. Often what will happen is that will lead to us as women not communicating our authentic truth, authentic emotions, our authentic desires, because there's some belief in there that I need to make sure this relationship stays, because if this relationship leaves, my life will fall apart. So we can place this pressure to perform and be who we believe we're meant to be in relationship, and avoid bringing conversations into the relationship that might make the man insecure, because we are bringing deep feminine truth in. That if we don't have that healthy integrated relationship with our masculine polarity, we might be inclined to walk on eggshells and not fully show up embodied in our truth and our sovereignty and our power, which is actually a deeply soft and receptive, along with, expressive thing. The other piece here is that when we as women are not devoted to the healthy integration of our masculine polarity, we're also doing our brothers a disservice, because our men are also intending and working to heal and integrate their masculine and feminine polarities. And if you're anything like me, one of the things that I've most desired to feel in any man that I'm exploring intimacy with is not only his healthy, strong masculine polarity, but also his ability to access his emotions and his vulnerability and his sensitivity, so that I can feel even more safe with him, because he's able to communicate about the emotions that are arising within him. The challenge is that our men have been raised in a culture where the feminine has actually been stigmatized within them. There's actually been the story that it's not okay for men to be in their feminine polarity. It's not okay for men to be in the unknown, in their uncertainty, in their emotions, because they're told that, one, it makes them unmanly, and two, it makes them unattractive. So if we want our men fully embodied in their masculine polarity, their ability to be grounded in themselves, connected to their hearts and penetrated and in their leadership, we need to support our men in being able to access their emotional sensitivity. However, if we as women are not cultivated in the ability to be in our masculine polarity, we're creating a space where we're actually consciously or unconsciously asking for the man that we're in intimate sexual romantic relationship with to stay fixed in the masculine polarity, because that's just the balance. I know maybe you've experienced that, if you're strongly in your feminine polarity, that when the man, that I'm being heteronormative right now, just want to acknowledge that there is a wide range of gender dynamic and sexual dynamic. And in this circumstance, I'm just speaking specifically to the dynamic between men and women. One, because it's where I have the most personal experience and professional experience, and because I believe that healing the dynamic between men and women is one of the most important locations of healing we can focus our attention on in society right now. So if we as women are not devoted to the healthy integration of our masculine polarity, we make it incredibly difficult for our brothers, and by brothers I mean our men, invite a man, like embrace a man as a brother before he becomes your lover. And that applies for brothers as well. Like, please embrace a woman as your sister before your lover. And what I mean by that is, feel that deep human love and care for this person that you're potentially sharing your body with. So what I was saying is, it's like, ideally when there's a flow of masculine, like ideally there's a healthy, easeful flow of masculine and feminine polarity that exists within each individual, where they're in healthy integrated relationship with both. And ideally the other person that we're in intimate sexual romantic relating with also has that healthy flow, so that if, I'm the woman and I'm feeling more emotional and like I need to be in my softness, that man is able to be in his masculine and hold space for that. And similarly, that if, the man that I'm in relationship with is feeling uncertain or feeling insecurity or feeling that need to go into the deeper emotions, that he actually has the ability to do that because he can feel my ability to be in my masculine polarity, so that he doesn't actually need to hold it all together all the time. It's like one of Brene Brown's studies on men and vulnerability, where one of the men that she interviewed said that, I feel like my family would rather see me die on my white horse than fall off of it. Let that land for a moment, right? I feel like my family would rather see me die on my white horse as the knight, the savior, than fall off of it and live, but show my vulnerability. So when we as women are willing to cultivate our healthy relationship with our inner masculine polarity, we actually support our brothers in actually being able to be guides and teachers through embodiment around how to be with our emotions and how to be in our sexual experiences. But if we as women are there's resistance or resentment towards healing the inner masculine, it's inevitably going to show up in subconscious and unconscious ways that we relate with men that are often beyond even our awareness. I'm speaking to these things, not making the statement that I am free from these distortions, but instead that I have devoted my life and my spiritual practice to becoming aware of these distortions that exist within me, because I am devoted to the healing, alchemy, and integration of the inner masculine and feminine polarities that exist within me, so that I can be in right relationship with my brothers and my lovers, and so that I can actually open to the dynamic and fluid flow of pleasure and ecstasy that's available when I don't feel fixed in one polarity because I'm afraid of the other, or because I'm resentful of the other. And truth be told, it's really important for us to look at where we're assuming that the masculine and the feminine are different things. Because if we look at the law of polarity through via Hermetic principles, polarities are actually not something that are separate. They're just different degrees on the same spectrum, kind of like hot and cold. Hot and cold actually aren't different things. There's just a difference in degree. So it's very important for us to start looking at our masculine and feminine polarity as like inseparably connected things that are in perpetual service to each other, and where giving and receiving becomes one in the same. And our personal responsibility is to look at where we've lost trust with self, or experienced trauma in the past that blocks us from the easeful ability to be in present time connection with the experience of giving and receiving, of penetrating, of being penetrated with thoughts and emotions and desires and perspectives, and yes, in sexual experiences, so that we can show up as whole and integrated human beings, sharing the space of softening and vulnerability and holding space for. So that's what I have for you today. I'm super curious to hear what this brings up for you. This is a conversation that's infinitely vast and deep and multidimensional. So I will continue to be having these conversations for the foreseeable future. Also, for those of you who are a woman or were born into a female body, I have a container for women coming up that's going to be opening for enrollment in October, and it's called Sovereignty. And it's very much going into the internal energetic work that we were speaking about in this container of how do we as women embody our truth and our sovereignty and our divinity within our bodies and really within our sexual experiences. Because so much of the way we're able to show up in freedom and truth and in power and self-expression in our lives is intimately connected with our ability to be present and receptive and engaged in our intimate sexual experiences. And if we can find self-expression and connection and truth and the ability to communicate in those places with men, it intimately and exponentially shifts the game of how we create life and create reality in every aspect of life. So I will include a link in the details below for you to sign up for the waitlist to learn more about the energetics and the intention of the sovereignty container. And again, I would love to hear about what questions arise for you, what conversations or topics you'd like me to go deeper to in this conversation, because this is my jelly jam. Sending you a lot of love. Have a beautiful day, and I will talk to you soon.